onda. But they die alone too. You're gotta run faster. Now. Excuse you, sir.
Warriors, Decanthea, bison. Their callous, so exciting. It'll cut.
Careful up in these trees. Coming up behind you. Stronger than it looks.
Hey guys, today we are taking a long and dusty trip into the future with a look at Predator Badlands. This movie really shakes things up by taking the classic hunter versus prey formula and dropping it into a high-tech wasteland where the humans might actually be just as dangerous as the aliens. I put a lot of work into these, so if you like what you see, a like and a subscribe is always appreciated. No worries if not. We are going to explore every inch of this new world, from the flickering holograms of the colony to the shimmering heat of the desert, where a new kind of monster is waiting to strike.
Yautja so alisk o hoi wo. Wow yix. Wolf.
Priority 1 completing a better world. What is the status of the
Nicely done.
Move.
What are you doing here?
Go.
You came back for me?
Yun.
We need to hurry. More.
Alles ang den.
Plan.
Alles go.
Let's go hunt. Wait here. I have an...
I see.
You said to prepare the ship for... What should we do about the creature?
Feel to be hunted.
We're not sisters.
Chitan, chitai.
Deck of...
Warstock, itsak. Chiten, itiaw. Mischaw, ton, rachiu.
The story begins on a planet that looks like it has been chewed up and spat out by a giant cosmic lawnmower. This is the frontier, a place where the air smells like ozone and burnt plastic, and the ground is a mix of orange sand and rusted metal. We meet Thea, who is the kind of person who would rather talk to a computer than a human being. She is a scientist working for a massive corporation that basically owns the air everyone breathes. The sound of her boots on the metal floor of the lab is a sharp, rhythmic click that echoes through the sterile hallways. She is obsessed with the old world, the ruins of Earth, and the technology that was lost when humanity fled to the stars. The world building here is top-notch, showing us a society that is literally built on top of its own trash. People wear recycled plastic clothes and use gadgets that look like they were held together by prayer and duct tape. It is a gritty, lived-in future that feels heavy and oppressive. On the other side of the tracks, or rather on the other side of the massive dust wall that protects the city, we find Tessa. Tessa is the sister who decided that working for the man was not for her. She is a scout, a wasteland wanderer who spends her days looking for salvage and her nights making sure nothing eats her. The sound of her pulse rifle charging up is a high-pitched whine that makes the hair on your arm stand up. She is tough, sarcastic, and has zero patience for the corporate suits who run the show inside the walls. The movie spends a lot of time showing us how these two sisters have drifted apart. Thea thinks Tessa is a reckless scavenger, while Tessa thinks Thea is a corporate puppet. It is your classic sibling rivalry, but with more laser guns and existential dread. The real trouble starts when a massive object streaks across the sky, sounding like a freight train falling through a glass roof. It crashes deep in the Badlands, far away from the sensors of the colony. Thea sees the energy signature on her monitors and realizes this is not just another meteor. The readings are off the charts, pulsing with a frequency that her instruments cannot even categorize. Naturally, the corporate bigwigs want that tech, so they send Thea out with a team of heavily armed mercenaries to retrieve it. They are basically the futuristic version of red shirts, and you just know they are not going to have a good time. The roar of their transport engines is a deafening rumble that shakes the very foundations of the lab as they take off into the unknown. Meanwhile, Tessa is out in the wastes, and she sees the crash too. She thinks it is a payday, a chance to find some rare alloy or a functional power core that could buy her way off this rock. She starts tracking the smoke trail, her bike kicking up a massive plume of dust that glows orange in the setting sun. The movie does a great job of making the desert feel alive and dangerous. You can hear the wind whistling through the canyons, sounding almost like a human voice screaming in the distance. The tactile details are everywhere, from the grit of the sand in Tessa's teeth to the way the heat waves make the horizon look like a liquid mirror. When the corporate team reaches the crash site, they find something that looks like a jagged obsidian tooth sticking out of the ground. It is the Predator ship, but it is unlike anything we have seen in previous movies. It is sleek, covered in shifting geometric patterns that seem to move even when the ship is still. The sound it makes is a low, vibrating hum that you feel in your teeth more than you hear with your ears. Thea is fascinated, poking at the hole with her scanners, while the mercenaries stand around looking tough and holding their guns like they actually matter. One of them makes a joke about how the ship looks like a giant espresso machine, which is the kind of humor that usually precedes someone getting turned into a kebab. Suddenly, the air around them begins to shimmer. It is that classic Predator cloak effect, but upgraded for the future. It is not just a blur anymore. It is like the world is being viewed through a crocked lens. The sound of the cloak engaging is a soft digital hiss, like a snake made of static. Before anyone can react, the first mercenary is gone. There's no scream, just the wet thud of a body hitting the sand and the metallic clang of a dropped weapon. The Predator is not just hunting, it is testing them. It is watching how they react, how they form a perimeter, and how quickly their bravado turns into pure, unalterated terror. Thea is the only one who stays calm, mostly because she's too busy trying to record the energy readings. She notices that the Predator's tech is interfering with their communication devices, creating a screeching feedback loop that sounds like a choir of angry banshees. The world building here is brilliant because it shows that even with advanced human tech, the Predator is still light years ahead. Its weapons are not just tools, they are extensions of its biology. We see the classic thermal vision, but it is multi-layered now. It can see the heat of their bodies, the electrical current in their gear, and even the chemical signatures of their fear. Tessa arrives just as the chaos hits its peak. She sees the mercenaries firing blindly into the dust, their muzzle flashes illuminating the swirling sand like strobe lights. The sound of the gunfire is a chaotic staccato, a series of sharp cracks that seem to be swallowed by the vastness of the desert. She realizes that her sister is in the middle of a slaughterhouse. Tessa does not have the fancy corporate armor or the high-tech rifles, but she knows the terrain. She uses a modified harpoon gun that makes a satisfying thunk when it fires, and she starts picking off the traps the Predator has set around the perimeter. The two sisters finally reunite in the middle of a firefight, and the tension is thick enough to cut with a combat knife. They do not have time for a hug and a cry, they have to move. The Predator is toys with them, jumping from one rusted ruin to another with a grace that defies its massive size. The sound of its claws scraping against metal is a screeching, ear-piercing noise that sets everyone's nerves on edge. Thea realizes that the Predator is not just here to kill, it is collecting data. Every time it uses a weapon, it is adjusting the settings based on the human response. It is an adaptive hunter, making it the most dangerous version of the creature we have ever seen. As they retreat deeper into the Badlands, the movie shifts from an action spectacle to a tense survival thriller. They find shelter in an old terraforming station, a massive structure of concrete and steel that was abandoned decades ago. The interior is a maze of dripping pipes and humming generators. The sound of water dripping into deep puddles creates a rhythmic plink that echoes through the dark, making every shadow look like a crouching monster. The world building here focuses on the failed dreams of the colonists, showing how the environment has reclaimed the machines meant to tame it. Thea and Tessa have to work together to turn the station into a giant trap. Thea uses her knowledge of the station's core to create a massive electromagnetic pulse, while Tessa sets up physical barriers and lures. The dialogue between them is sharp and filled with years of resentment, but you can see the bond starting to reform. It is a slow burn, a quiet moment of reflection amidst the carnage. They talk about their parents and the world they were promised, a world that never arrived. The sarcasm is still there, like when Tessa asks if Thea's corporate health insurance covers being skinned alive, but it is softer now. The Predator eventually finds them, of course. It enters the station not through the door, but by cutting through the roof with a laser that sounds like a blowtorch on steroids. The smell of melting metal fills the air, a sharp and acrid scent that stings the nostrils. The final showdown is a masterpiece of choreography and sound design. The Predator uses its new toys, including a series of floating drones that emit a high-frequency pulse to disorient the sisters. The sound is a pulsing, rhythmic thrum that makes the screen vibrate. Tessa holds her own in hand-to-hand combat, using the environment to her advantage. The sound of her fists hitting the Predator's armor is a dull, heavy thud, like hitting a brick wall covered in leather. She's outmatched in strength, but she's faster and meaner. Meanwhile, Thea is frantically trying to bypass the station's security protocols to trigger the EMP. The tension builds as the predator gets closer and closer, its clicking growl becoming a constant, terrifying background noise. It sounds like a bag of marbles being shaken by a giant, a wet and guttural noise that signals imminent death. Just as the predator is about to deliver the final blow, Thea slams her hand onto the console. The EMP goes off with a sound that is not a bang, but a sudden, deafening silence. All the lights go out, the humming of the station stops, and even the predator's cloak flickers and dies. For a moment, the world is completely still. Then, in the darkness, we hear the sound of a match being struck. Tessa has a flare, and the red light reveals the predator standing right in front of them, its mask damaged and its glowing green blood dripping onto the floor with a soft patter. The ending of the fight is brutal and fast. Without its tech, the predator is still a monster, but the sisters are a team. They use a combination of old-school ingenuity and raw desperation to finally take the creature down. The final blow is a crushing sound of metal meeting bone, a visceral and satisfying end to the hunt. But the movie does not end there. As the sun rises over the Badlands, Thea and Tessa stand over the fallen hunter. They realize that the corporation is going to come looking for the tech, and they are not going to be happy that it is destroyed. The world building expands in these final moments, showing that the real threat was never just the alien from the stars. The society they live in is just as predatory, always looking for a way to exploit and consume. The sisters decide to disappear into the wastes, taking what they have learned and becoming something new. They are no longer a scientist and a scout. They are survivors. The sound of the wind blowing across the desert returns, a lonely and haunting whistle that suggests their journey is just beginning. The movie leaves us with a sense of wonder and terror about the universe. It suggests that there are many more hunters out there, and that humanity is just starting to realize its place in the food chain. The technology we saw was just a glimpse of what the predators are capable of, and the society of the Badlands is just one small corner of a much larger and darker galaxy. It is a film that respects the legacy of the franchise while pushing it into a bold new direction, focusing on the characters and the world they inhabit rather than just the body count. As the dust settles and the long shadows of the Badlands stretch across the horizon, a profound quiet descends upon the landscape. The frantic energy of the hunt has faded, leaving behind a stillness that feels both heavy and light. You can almost feel the coolness of the evening air as it replaces the scorching heat of the day, a gentle reminder that even the harshest worlds have moments of peace. The sisters stand together, their silhouettes framed against the fading sun, find a rare moment of connection in the aftermath of their shared struggle. It is a time for breathing deeply and letting the tension of the battle wash away into the sand. The echoes of the past are still there, but they are softer now, like a distant memory of a storm that has finally passed over the mountains. Predator Badlands is a visceral and imaginative addition to the series that successfully blends futuristic world-building with the raw intensity of a survival horror film. It manages to make the predator feel genuinely terrifying again by introducing adaptive technology and a setting that is just as hostile as the creature itself. The focus on the relationship between the two sisters gives the story an emotional core that is often missing from action movies. It leaves you wondering what else is out there in the dark, waiting for the right moment to strike. It is a thrilling ride that proves some legends never truly die. They just evolve to hunt in new and more dangerous ways.